Spencer, how are we doing? We good, we good? All right, let's see. Y'all act like it's hot. This ain't hot. I'm from Houston, this is a spring day. This is like winter, this is not hot. I don't know, baby, wish y'all had like some MOK funeral home church fans in here or something. What's wrong with y'all? It's not that hot. Cut it out. I am glad to be here, glad to see all of you here. I appreciate the invitation to come speak to you on this graduation day. It is one that I don't take lightly. This is the 17th commencement speech that I've given 15 different HBCUs. And so it's always interesting. I just posted something on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Really? You got your phone on? Really? You never heard of you? Really? They calling you right now. Who phone rang? Who phone? Who phone? Really, this side of the room. On this side of the room. Put your phone on me. Lord have mercy. So I posted something a few minutes ago. How many folks even remember who spoke at their graduation? Precisely. I ain't got no clue. I can't remember. I graduated from Texas A&M December 1991. I have no idea who spoke. I don't know who it was. I don't know what they said. In fact, I just sent Texas A&M a tweet like, why don't y'all send me a copy of the speech so I can hear it? And so I always keep that in mind. Because I do believe you have to give a word that folks can remember, and that's always important. And also, I appreciate the song. But this is like a little too solemn. I'm just letting y'all know, okay? Ain't nobody died. We're not wheeling a casket down the aisle. I swear they told y'all don't say nothing, don't make no noises. And so even though I got a 5:30 flight to LA to catch, I'm gonna need you to, who's on piano? Who's on piano? I need you to go back. I need you to play something upbeat. I need you like to crank it up. So I need something, I don't know, cause y'all like, this is like a 7 a.m. church service at the Catholic Church I grew up in. So we got to crank this thing up a little bit. I need to have a little intensity. So come on. I ain't here all day now. Come on. It's a 3-hour drive back. Come on. Crank it up. Come on. Y'all want to clap down there? Come on. On me. Another tap. I see. Some of y'all are complaining about walking up those steps, so y'all need to go ahead and stand up. Stand up. Go ahead and stand up. Get on your feet. Stand up. Come on. Get on your feet. Grab your feet up. Who's wrong with y'all? Get up. This is way. That's what I'm saying. So I hear some feet stomping. That's what I'm saying. can speak now. All right then. Y'all know the board trustee, like, he done disrupted the whole program. I was reading that Kim Whitley was y'all speaker last year. Y'all probably ran out of holy water trying to. I know she was ignorant last year. Kim, we on video. Kim, we know you were ignorant last year. Kim Whitley is my homegirl. She, of course, also on the Tom Gordon Morning Show with me. And so it's always, I told him, I said, I'm following Kim. I said, that ain't no heavy lifting. Trust me, when Kim hears that, she's going to be really upset. I'm going to send her a text in a minute just to go ahead and mess with her. But that's how we roll. We always have fun. We always mess with each other. Life is not that serious. Plus, she's a comedian. She can't take a joke. That really ain't my problem. That's really my problem. And y'all actually gave Kim a degree last year? Because I don't think she got the original one. I don't think she got it. So, again, it is good to be here. Good to see all of you here. Kim, do you know where I am? Kim, I'm at the University of Virginia at Lynchburg. You spoke here last year, huh? Commencement? Yeah. They said you were horrible. You were what? You didn't have the verbiage? So what you said, you didn't pay attention when you were in college initially? Okay, well, I'm actually at the podium right now, so you're on the speakerphone. No, Kim, seriously, you on the speakerphone. Hold on, I need everybody in the room say, hey, Kim! Hey, Kim! You thought I was lying, huh? That was your favorite? Because ain't nobody else asked you to speak anyway. Okay, Kim, I gotta go. We gotta go. I gotta give you a speech. I just want to call and mess with you. Don't cuss. Talk to your children like I got some sense. Girl, bye. All time gonna have fun with that on Monday night. Before I speak, is it Leroy or Leroy, the chairman of the board? Look, Leroy. First of all the alphas in the house. The rest of you little youth groups. Like Leroy. He gonna say he went the wrong way. I was like, what are you? He said, well, I'm an Omega. I said, stop. You know that's a youth group. You know that. Put a leash on. So you want to mess with the speaker before he speaks. Talk trash after the graduation. You're going to learn your lesson. You're going to try that next year. All right, let's get down to the task at hand. I was contemplating what I wanted to speak on. I don't write speeches. I wrote a couple once, didn't even read from it. And so I was in the car and I was thinking about what I wanted to say, and it was very interesting in the introduction, the mentioning of being born in 1968. Of course, Dr. King was killed 51 years ago, April 4th, 1968. You mentioned Robert Kennedy, June 5th in Los Angeles, 1968. I thought about that speech Dr. King gave on April 3rd, 1968, the Mountaintop speech. And what was interesting about that is that Keith Miller has a book, he called it a biblical epic speech. He said it's his last great speech. He literally breaks down theologically that entire speech. And I was thinking about, again, title, and I was thinking about this class, the moment that we're living in. Anytime you speak in front of black people, especially black people who actually go to church more than 2 times a month, you have to actually tag your text. Now, the person next to you does not know what tag your text is. More than likely, they have not gone to a black church ever. And so I want you to turn to the person to your left and say, now is your time. and say, now is your time. I want you to look at people behind you and say, hey, now is your time. All right. So now if y'all don't remember nothing I say, at least y'all remember the title. So if somebody asks you, at least you have that down pat. If you look at that speech, first of all, the problem I have with most folks in America, especially even black folks, is that when we talk about the mountaintop speech, most people have only heard the bottom 2.5 minutes of that speech when Dr. King talks about going to the mountaintop. Most people don't realize it is an unbelievable 43-minute, 16-second speech, which is one of the greatest he's ever given. Not because of the mountaintop part, but literally because of what he lays out throughout that particular speech. At the outset, he asked the question if he could have asked God in what period in the history of the world he could have been born in, what would that period be? And he goes through a variety of periods during that time. He talks about Martin Luther, he talks about 1863, he talks about the Roman Empire, he talks about the Greek period, he talks about all these different periods. He said, but there was no other time that he would want to be born in than the time that he was living in because of the fight for freedom all across this country, but all across this world. When we think of the Black freedom movement, we think about only in terms of this country. What we don't realize is after World War II, there was a tremendous amount of freedom taking place all across the country, especially in those places that were colonized, especially on the continent of Africa. Freedom was all over. Vietnam War, that also was about freedom. You think about Ghana and other countries breaking free of colonial rule, that was about freedom. You think about the apartheid movement, the anti-apartheid movement, that was trying to break free from the racism there in South Africa. So it was a period of freedom. And if any of us were asking ourselves, why are we in the place we are in now? It is because if anyone truly understands Psalm 139, when you say, you saw me in the womb, that unformed body, we are here at the right time for this moment in history. Now, there's some people who are saying, well, but this is a different moment in history. We thought we had gone beyond the things that we are dealing with in this country. We have people who literally are saying that we thought that we would not be seeing individuals in Charlottesville marching down the streets with tiki torches saying we're not going to give this country to Jews and to black folks and others. We thought we were beyond that. We thought that we were no longer having any martyrs when it came to the issue of white supremacy, but you have Heather Heyer, who was killed when the car ran through the crowd. There are people who literally are saying, I can't believe that we somehow are still dealing with those issues, but why would we somehow be shocked in the year of return when this is the commemoration of the 400th anniversary of the first 20-odd Africans arriving in Virginia? Why would we be shocked if we're still dealing with this? We should not be shocked because what we're dealing with in 2019 is simply what we have dealt with the last 400 years, and that is the reality of white supremacy in America. See, we're just 5 miles away from Liberty University. Reverend Dr. William Barber, the Poor People's Campaign, when they came to Lynchburg, literally Jerry Falwell Jr. sent a letter to the police department that says, do not allow them to step foot on this campus, and if they do, arrest them. This is a man who's a lawyer, whose daddy was a preacher, who said, if a preacher steps foot on this campus, arrest him. You would say, wait a minute, how dare are you a so-called son of a preacher? You a PK, and you have a so-called religious university, but what is it about this preacher you are afraid of? No, you're not afraid of the preacher. You're afraid of the word the preacher is bringing because you're afraid of light coming on your darkness and illuminating and likely drawing from the folks who are under your leadership on your campus. Oh, see, let me be real clear. Jerry Falwell Jr. has blocked me on Twitter because he ain't trying to hear this. But what he needs to understand is that I'm not one of these other folk. God made me a little different. And The reason I'm saying that is because you are here at this time in order to fulfill a destiny that our previous ancestors could not fulfill on their own. The reality is we're still dealing with trying to achieve freedom in this country. And when we look at what's happening in the faith community, we still have folks who want to hold on to the old way of doing things, the folks who want to hold on to that old notion of what does it mean to be a believer? What does it mean to be someone who believes in it? You have, I don't even call Franklin Graham a reverend. I don't call him that because you can't all of a sudden criticize a Democratic presidential candidate who is gay and you use the Bible, but then you provide cover for a man who is not immoral, but who is amoral. If you are going to be a prophetic voice, you ought to be prophetic and not political. When David messed up, the prophet told David you were wrong. When Saul messed up, the prophet said you were wrong. Prophetic voices will speak the truth whether they like you or not. And even if they like you, they will speak the truth and then say, now, you don't have to deal with this, but I'm going to love you while you do it. But we're living in a world today that you have white conservative evangelicals who are worshiping a Jesus I don't know because they actually are not worshiping Jesus. They're worshiping GOP. They're worshiping parties, but they're not speaking to the pain and the suffering of people today. And so what is required is a new generation of prophetic leaders who are willing to speak to the disenfranchised, whether they are black or white or Latino or Asian or Native American, whether they are immigrant or undocumented, whether they are from another country or from this country. What is required today is a generation of leaders who are unwilling to bend to nonsense. See, we have to accept the responsibility. Here we sit 24 years away from America becoming a nation that's majority people of color. 24 years, by 2043, America will be a nation that's majority people of color. What you are seeing in America today, not by all white Americans, but what you are seeing, this revolt, this anger. You watch the media, they call it economic anxiety. Well, first of all, black folks been broke for a long time. Ain't nobody more economically anxious than us. Jobs report dropped yesterday. They said it's the lowest in 49 years, but the reality is everybody's celebrating that, but the black unemployment rate is double that of the nation's average. The average wealth of a white family in America is around $140,000. The average wealth of an African American is $5,000. If anybody should be economically anxious, it's black people. If you are a black college graduate, your student loan debt ratio is 2 to 3 times higher than the average white in this country. If anybody should be economically anxious, it should be black folks. But no, you have mainstream media who are saying we need to be listening to folks in red states, people walking around with little red hats. I'm like, no, they should be listening to the rest of us. Because we are seeing people who are operating in this notion of white fear because they are afraid that the morals and the values of the nation are now going to be redefined because the people who are now going to be doing the defining don't look like the folk who used to be doing the defining. See, that's really what we are dealing with. In 2009, I called it. I said, we're living in the age of white minority resistance. I said, trust me, when these numbers become reality, folks when they say, hold on, wait a minute, hold on. This thing is changing? Yes, it is. You look at what's happening now. 51+% of the kids in public schools are black and brown. That's fact. By 2039, the labor force, in terms of working class in America, will be people of color. And so all of a sudden, you have folks who are freaking out like, oh my God, what about us? Well, you've been running this thing for all this time. And so now all of a sudden, you upset these things are changing. Well, here's the deal. Black people kept having kids. Latinos kept having kids. White birth rate actually dropped. It ain't my fault. Y'all stop knocking the boots. higher than the average birth rate. And so the demographic shift is actually happening. It is happening before our very eyes. And then we also have some disillusioned, clueless black folks who are falling into this game as well, because we're saying, oh my goodness, what about us? And we are attacking them. I'm sitting going, what are you talking about? What we are dealing with is America is changing before our very eyes, and you are the generation who is positioned for leadership in a changing America. If you are 24, 25 years old today, in 24 years, you will be in the prime of your career. So you will be in a leadership position in corporate America, in churches, in nonprofits, in colleges, universities. And so it's incumbent upon you to present a different worldview, because the world in which you will be governing is different from the world that you have been, your parents and grandparents have been living in, which means it requires a different skill set, a different frame of mind, a different person. And so you are positioned where you are, which is why I say now is the time. Because see, the problem we have is that we have too many folks who are not preparing themselves for the moment when the shift happens. Folks keep asking me, Roland, why do you support school choice? I said, first of all, I support every form of education known to man. Traditional, public, homeschool, private school, online school, I don't care, technical school. If we are learning, if we're being educated, I'm down with it. What I'm not down with is failure. Right. I was just in Sacramento 2 weeks ago dealing with, well, they're trying to cap charter schools there, and I'm looking at the stats where they told me almost 70%, 63% of black kids in the state of California are not proficient when it comes to language in English. 80% of black kids are not proficient when it comes to math. Why is that important? Because there are 6.2 million kids in California. There are 340,000 African American kids who are in California. And if the current stats stay the same, that means when the shift happens, and America is now a nation majority of people of color, black folks will be in a worse position in 2043 than we are in 2019, which means we will be looking like South Africa, that is people of color who are the majority, but literally don't control the economics, don't control the politics, will still be asking somebody else, can I? So we can't be in a position where we're focused on getting to work in 2043. No, it requires us to be focused in 2019 and 20 and 21 and 22. So for the graduates of this class, you are prime position to be the leaders to ensure what kind of world we're going to have for African Americans. Will HBCUs still be thriving and surviving in 24 years, which is based upon your level of giving today as a graduate, based upon how you're mobilizing and organizing others today to ensure it happens. And if we look up in 24 years later and we have fewer HBCUs than today, if we still have 80% of black kids not proficient in math, then we cannot say it was somebody else if we were falling asleep at the wheel and allow it to happen. Now is not the time for us to be focused on games and playing. Now is the time for us to be completely focused on lineage, future, breaking generational curses. And see, this is hard for some folks because, and see, I understand, and trust me, there are some graduates who are sitting here right now, and there are people who are here celebrating you on this day, and if you are real honest, there are some folks who are cheering you on right now who disputed your decision to come here. Oh, don't think for a second. One of my spiritual gifts is discernment. So I forgot. The room speaks, God speaks, so don't act like I don't know what I'm talking about. There are some folks who are graduating right now. Your family didn't want you majoring in what you majored in. They were saying, well, why are you doing that? You should major in this. That can generate you more money. That can generate more things for you. No, they were thinking about themselves. That was a selfish act when actually you were operating in God's will as for where you go and what you're majoring in and what you're going to do in your life, because he understood where you were going to be in 2019. He knew it from the moment you were formed in your mama's womb. Which means that your responsibility is not to live a life based upon what you want and what you desire. It requires you to say, God, what is your will for my life? And it might be in an unpopular position because you might be going against a grandmother or a grandfather or a mother or a father or an aunt and an uncle. But the reality is you got to have the courage to say, you had the shot to live your life. I've got to live my life and do what God has destined for me. You can't live through me. I can't live through you. I've got to do what God wants me to do so I can position my children's children in order to break generational curse. See, a lot of us call ourselves church folks. A lot of us call ourselves believers. A lot of us say we want things to change, but we're unwilling to truly confront those generational curses in our own family. We're unwilling to look them in the eye. And it requires a new generation to say, that's not going to be me. It requires the next generation to say, no, that will not be my children. And every person who's graduating, I need you to understand that every decision that you make from this point forward has a direct impact on your lineage. So the decisions that you make from this point forward, after you walk across this stage, after you walk out that door, walk down those steps, and go out into this world, every decision you make has a direct impact on what the life of your children's children will be. What is behind you is no guarantee for what is in front of you. You can either continue the path of goodness based upon how your family is, or you can say, this ends now in my family with this generation, and I am starting a new thing for my family. Which requires you to have a different view, which requires you to think about that every single day. See, folks will say, well, that's easy for you because, you've gone through life and, you turned 50 in November. No, understand that that was me at 14. I went to a communications high school in Houston, made the decision to major in journalism at 14. Yes, sir. I haven't changed in 36 and a half years. I understood what my destiny was. I understood what my talents were. Folks have come to me and said, you should run for political office. No, God has never told me that. People told me that, well, man, you and your wife, you don't have biological children, you should adopt. No, that's what God told me. We've raised 6 of my nieces on 5 different occasions. God knew what was going to happen down the road. And so if I made a decision without consulting him, then I was walking out of his will. I was walking out of order. And so when you make decisions in his will, his way, seeking his advice, then you understand where you're going. And so when I look at those nieces now graduating, looking at them thriving, looking at them getting better, it was because of decisions that I made a long time ago, not just my own personal decision in terms of my career, but also who I chose as a mate or who I listened to when God said, that's who you're going to marry. What I'm trying to get you to understand is that when we say now is the time, that means that every decision you make, every decision, where you live, the house you live in, whether it's an apartment, whether you buy, the car you drive, are you caught up in keeping up with some other folk who don't even like you, or are you focused on living your best life the best way you can and being content with what you have? Every decision will have a direct impact on what your life is going to be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now, and what kind of life your children will have, and then what kind of life their children will have. We have to be thinking, living, operating with the understanding of legacy. Walking down the hall and seeing those pictures and literally seeing the first building of this university. A building, if we were really honest, most of us in this room would not even dare walk into in 2019. If that building existed in 2019, folks in this room would have told the council member, y'all need to slap stickers on that and that needs to be an abandoned building. But the folk who created this were not concerned about how that building looked on the outside. They were concerned about what was happening on the inside and with the people who were being affected on the inside. And so here we sit in May of 2019. You are graduating as a result of folks who went to a building that appeared to be falling apart. But the reality is a building that was falling apart has resulted in this edifice, has resulted in what you are able to do now. So do understand, you may have a life that on the outside looks like it's falling apart, look like it should be abandoned, look like it should be condemned. And God takes something and says, don't get so consumed with on the outside if you focus on the inside and build that and nurture that and develop that. What will then happen, you will have something that will grow and will thrive and will flourish, and then you will look up generationally and say, oh my God, we started with that, look where we are now. That was because there were people who had faith, who had courage, who had tenacity, who said, I'm not going to allow us to be condemned and ignored. We are going to educate our kids no matter what it takes. That must be your attitude today. You must be willing to commit yourself to a life of action, a life of service, a life of commitment, and one that says, I'm not worried what anybody outside thinks. I'm going to focus on the people here. It don't matter how small the graduating class is, no matter how large it is. If the graduating class is 1,000 or 100 or 10, that means that there's 10 souls who are going to be sent out to do exactly what is required, because the reality is all Jesus had was 12 disciples who rolled with him. 10 and 12 to change the world. You better understand that you have power, you have authority, you have the conviction, and you have the purpose, and you must be willing to use that power. Now is the time.
You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Hey fam, want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? The blackest show on all of digital, cable, and broadcast. Check out our audio podcast. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Press play. Martin. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it. Hey fam, want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered, the blackest show on all of digital, cable, and broadcast. Check out our audio podcast. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Press play. Martin.